Allow me to take you to this room. Imagine it being dark and silent, with just a few machines humming, loved ones encircling, and a life slowly fading away. Sitting in one corner of that room 10 years ago, I watched my mom breathe her last. It was at that moment that the true spirit of overcoming got instilled within me. Now, if you're sitting there and wondering, I did not learn this spelling in kindergarten, let me assure you, you are not alone. However, this word changed my life, and I hope some ways it'll change yours. Born and raised in a country 8,807 miles away, I came to this great land several decades ago in the pursuit of a better life. I was determined to make my mark in this world, overcoming barriers of gender, culture, race, and nationality. I went ahead to pursue my MBA, representing less than 30% of the graduating class that year nationwide as a woman. My search for a better life continued. I got this great job offer and started my corporate career with that 9-to-5 dream, routinely dreading a Monday and in the hope of a Friday every single week, just like most everyone else. Life was humming along. I had great friends, a great job, I was married, and at this time, I was also mom to the spunkiest 2-year-old on this planet. Then, one day, Dad called, and he said, "Your mom has ovarian cancer. It's in the advanced stages, and the doctors are saying there is no hope for overcoming." It was at that moment that my carefully constructed life fell apart. It was also the moment and the opportunity that I did not know then was to rebuild my life just the way I had always wanted it to be. What followed in the next 11 months was a roller coaster of hopes and prayers and challenges and acceptance. I got pregnant with my second. At 6 weeks, her heartbeat gave me a reason to hope. It gave me a reason to turn my head toward the sunshine. But at the 12-week appointment, the doctor kept struggling to find her heartbeat. And after what seemed to be an eternity, she walked up to me, laid a hand on my shoulder, and very softly said, "I'm so sorry, but she didn't make it." Losing a child that had almost made it through the first trimester was unbearable. And for weeks and months thereafter, I just remember looking up at the sky any chance I got to try to find her face in the clouds. I had named her Zaria, which means sunrise or the morning star. But for the world and for my little boy, I felt the need to suppress my emotions because miscarriages are never really talked about, are they? Besides, Mom was still around. Her health began to decline, however, and in the next few months, I purchased another ticket to go see her over Valentine's Day. This time, I was pregnant again, and happiness seemed possible again. But events took an unexpected turn, and after battling this disease for 11 months, my mom passed away. My mom was the rock of my life, and she and I had a connection of lifetimes. When she passed, I struggled to find that inner peace that comes from knowing that it's over, that we have reached the end of the road. After performing her last rites, I got on the plane to travel back to the US. On the flight, I started to bleed. What followed was predictable. Not just another miscarriage, this time of a boy, but deep, agonizing despair, the fear that I cannot overcome. Confused and directionless, I called my doctor and I said, I need help. So she prescribed those medications that now found a home on my bathroom shelf. So one day, as I was reaching for those medicines, this moment of revelation dawned upon me. I realized I had a choice to either give in or to lean in. I decided to lean in. Liberated from my weaknesses, I left corporate America to create this foundation called Overcome, to gift the true spirit of overcoming to ovarian cancer patients. Overcome since then has helped millions of women worldwide via education, support, love, and hope. The foundation I run is not named after my mom. It is named after the spirit that she held closest to her heart. I chose to spell overcome with an A, to acknowledge overcoming ovarian cancer, to acknowledge the first letter of my mother's name, and to acknowledge defining overcoming in a new light. So just by a show of hands, how many of you here have been impacted by cancer as a survivor, caregiver, friend, or a family member? So quite a few. So as you know, the moment we hear that C word, we are immersed in this sorrow and in this misery. But I believe that in life and in cancer, there are 3 ways we can choose to overcome. 1, by doing what we can. I went ahead and took that genetic testing, and I encourage all of you, if cancer runs in your family, do inquire, do learn, and do figure out if genetic testing is the right choice for you. I took every opportunity to travel, to be with my mom, just to hold her hands, to watch movies together, to cook for her sometimes, even though she couldn't eat much at that time. But mostly, just to sit there and listen to her talk about her childhood, her first love, my dad, and the afterlife that she was in anticipation of. And in those moments, I realized that as caregivers, we have this incredible gift that we can give to those that we care for. Because of us and because of you, someone still hopes, someone still fights, and someone still overcomes. 2, by believing that there is life beyond despair. The pressure to be happy is real, but heartache is also necessary. I believe that all of us have something. We have one thing that we hold closest to our hearts, and we can choose to fill our hearts with it. There are so many books written on what you would tell your younger self. But if I asked you right here, right now, do you know what you would tell your dying self? Think about that. And of course, in this whole journey of overcoming, let's never forget humor. It's like when your therapist tells you that the best way to seek inner peace is to finish what you have started. And you have finished those 2 bars of chocolates already and feeling absolutely fantastic. 3, by defining overcoming in a new light. When my mom was diagnosed and she was in the final stages of her life, she delved into deep introspection. She figured out what mattered to her the most. She knew that she did not want to welcome death being plugged into those machines. So she told me to take off all the switches and plugs. She declined visit requests from people that didn't matter to her. And absolutely certainly told the nurse when she came in with her report with mom's age written wrong, that, you know, I may be dying, but I am not 85. So humor stayed with her until the end. We talked about death a lot, and she was worried about me and my dad after she was gone. I reassured her that our lives would go on happily, that we would overcome. Relieved and reassured, my mom told me that I want to overcome life. I no longer wish to fight this battle. I want to embrace, accept, and enjoy this freedom of surrender. I promised to her then that I would sign all those release papers so she may choose her ending, so she may overcome. I could go on about big things, little things, life-changing things that have happened to me since then. And I have realized through this journey that life is all about overcoming, and it is not a straight battle. It is not about winning or losing. Overcoming is about choosing. I was totally destroyed after all this happened to me. But I took the courage from this experience. And now I have 2 boys. It took 4 shots, but I have 2 boys now. And I tell them every single day to practice gratitude and to overcome the fear of not being able to overcome, because there is no such thing. By doing what we can, by defining overcoming in a new light, and by believing that there is life beyond despair, we can choose to overcome. I no longer wish to conquer this world, but I do want to tell my dying self that because of you, I took the best decisions on overcoming in my life, keeping you, as in death, in perspective. Let me tell you this right here, right now, is a lot of overcoming. But the moment I believed that you all might get behind me if I allowed myself to be seen, I knew I could overcome. So allow yourself to be seen. In my younger years, I had this teacher who once announced to the class, if she can do it, all of you can. Not in a good way. Totally meaning to humiliate, because I was taking longer to grasp what she was trying to teach. Today, I'm telling you exactly the same thing. If I can, all of you can, but in a good way, totally meaning to uplift, because we can uplift one another in this whole journey of overcoming. Life is not a dictionary. It is an experience. So go ahead and choose whichever word you want and change and define and redefine your own overcoming. Overcoming is not a battle against losing. Overcoming is choosing. And together, we can choose to overcome. I dedicate this talk to my mom and to all overcomers. Thank you.